I'm back, kinda. Oh, God. Look, I am so fucking sorry for my upload schedule recently. It's been, like, how long has it been? Hold on, I'm legitimately going to check right now how long it has been since I last uploaded a video. It's been a month, but I'm pretty sure it's breaching on 2 months at this point since I actually made a video, and I haven't had a consistent upload schedule for a little while now, and I apologize for that. There is legitimate reasons as to why. I I'm not gonna get into it here. I might make another video on it at some point if I can remember to do it. But I just want to say I appreciate you guys for sticking around, because usually whenever I go on long breaks like this, I get a lot of people unsubscribing. And this time I haven't been getting that, so I appreciate you guys for sticking around and not like unsubscribing from me, because that was a serious problem I've had in the past when it comes to stuff like this. But whatever. So yeah, today is another Persona 5 video, much like I think the last two videos I've made have both been on Persona 5, if I'm correct. Yes, both of them have. One of them was the talk about Royal and Strikers and the canonicity of that, and the other one was that meme short that I did on a whim. So yeah, if you guys don't follow me on Twitter, you're probably, thanks to those two uploads, you're probably already aware that I fucking love Persona 5, like, a lot. I actually picked up the game around August time and got completely addicted to it. Played it the whole way through, then immediately played Royal right after, then immediately played Strikers, and then I actually played through the dancing game as well, and now I've played through Persona 4 and Persona 4 Golden, and I plan to play through Persona 3 and Persona 3 FES pretty soon. So, yeah, you could say I'm a pretty big Persona fan. But today we're focusing more specifically on Persona 5, because there's something in the Persona community that actually kind of Persona 5 community specifically, that sort of bothers me a little bit. And it's all about one character in particular who is very, very divisive in the Persona 5 community. Now, that could be a lot of different people. That could be fucking Morgana. That could be Ryuji. That could be Haru. There's a lot of different characters who are super fucking divisive in the P5 community. But the one I want to focus on today is Goro Akechi. This son of a bitch is literally, I think, the most divisive character, possibly in the entire Persona franchise. Okay, no, I think the most divisive character in the entire Persona franchise would probably be Teddy, but we don't talk about Teddy. So yeah, the reason I decided to make a video on Akechi today is because I've been watching a lot of videos recently about people analysing him and how he is as a character, and from what they're saying, there's a lot of things that they're bringing up about his character where I feel like there's just some things that people don't get about Akechi, and there's a lot of things that I feel like are just right out there about him that a lot of people just don't see, and I wanted to bring some of that to light in this video. So basically, when it comes to Akechi, there's three types of Akechi fans. You get, well, three types of opinions on Akechi, let's say. So you have people like me who think he's one of the best fucking characters in the game and just find him fascinating as a character to analyze. You'll also get the people who just do not get the hype behind him and think he's an incredibly badly written character and that a lot of his fucking motivations don't really make any sense. And then you get the third kind of Akechi fan which are the Akechi simps, which just fucking try to justify everything he ever did, and those people need to be dealt with. But, God, I'm actually starting to sound like Akechi whenever I say that, but whatever. So yeah, as I said, I fall into the first camp, the people who think he's a very interesting character, and genuinely just really like his character. He's my second favorite character in the entire game, besides Joker, because Joker is like genuinely a fascinating character to me. I could probably make an entire video on him as well, just simply the fact that he's a silent protagonist who actually has his own personality. But that's something else. I'll make another video on that soon. Not soon. You know what I fucking mean. I'll make another video on that at some point. But yeah. So when it comes to Akechi, I think, as I said, I think he's a very, very fascinating character, and I think there's a lot of layers to his character that a lot of people just don't seem to see. I'm not saying, oh, you just don't get it. Like, there's a fucking furry reason why these things don't get brought up, because I'm not gonna lie, he is a little bit confusing when he's just examined on a base level. He is super fucking weird as a character. So when you first meet Akechi in the game, you meet him during the second palace arc, I believe. I don't remember whether it's before or after you meet Yusuke. I think it's before. I don't really remember. But yeah, you get introduced to him on the talk during the talk show scene where he's up. Well, technically you get introduced to him during the fucking hallway scene where the pancake thing happens, which I hate the pancake meme. I hate it so fucking much. It's better than the Adachi cabbage meme, which that is so fucking stupid. But we're not here. You know what? I'm not gonna get into that can of worms. I also plan to make a video on Adachi at some point because Adachi is a character that I do not get the love for Adachi at all. Well, I do, but I don't. It's weird. I will make a video. That actually is a video I could make pretty soon, to be honest. That could be like a counterpart to this video almost. But regardless, I'll save that for another time. You're introduced to Adachi, let's just say during the TV show scene, because the one in the hallway doesn't really tell you anything about his character. And during that scene, you find out that he is an ace detective and he's a celebrity, and he expresses a couple different beliefs about the Phantom Thieves. So at this point in your journey, you've taken down one palace owner, maybe two. As I said, I don't really remember whether or not this takes place before or after Madarame. Well, I guess technically it could take place before either way because, you know, you kind of have freedom on what to do, but whatever. So, yeah. You have just taken down either Kamoshida or Madarame, as I don't remember, and you're sort of still, the characters are still kind of having doubts about whether or not what they're doing is right. So when someone like Akechi comes along who says that if they're allies of justice, he genuinely believes they exist, but they should be tried in a court of law because, you know, they're vigilantes and all that stuff. And when I first got to this point in the game, I genuinely found Akechi to be interesting right off the bat because the characters all react differently to him, and they all react in an incorrect way, in my opinion. Ryuji just fucking loses his shit and starts talking shit like, oh, that damn Akechi, that bullshit. But then Anne just kind of reacts with, well, I think what he's saying might be right. Even though in this case, Akechi's argument of how do we know that the Phantom Thieves aren't creating these problems is literally not what they're doing. Says people don't talk about how dumb Anne is enough. Why do people give Ryuji shit for being dumb, but never talk about how dumb Anne is? All right. But back on topic, when this scene first came up, I think a lot of people just immediately hated Akechi because he's opposing what the Phantom Thieves do, so that makes him a bad guy. But for me, I kind of felt a little more sympathy towards him because you gotta think, this dude is working with the police, he's a detective, that's just kind of how his mind works, and no matter what way you look at it, the Phantom Thieves are vigilantes, they are criminals, like, there's no way really around that. The best way I can really describe this is that the Phantom Thieves, say there's a line. There's like a line between what's good. On one end is what's good, and the other end is what's bad. So let's rephrase that. On one end is what's right, and on the other end is what's wrong. All right? Let's put it that way. I'd say the Phantom Thieves sit somewhere in the middle of this line. They're doing good things, but it's through illegal methods, so it is questionable. And to be fair, to the game's credit, it does actually make them question this a few times throughout the game, sometimes better than others, but yeah, it is something that the game does bring up. But I do like that the game lets you be less antagonistic towards Akechi, because everybody's reaction to him is different, but as I said, I sort of sympathize with him a little more. So once Akechi eventually actually joins your party and ends up being one of your most valuable assets during Sai's palace, a lot of people, myself included, actually found him to be incredibly likable during that palace, and he quickly became like one of my favorite members of the group. Although I didn't trust him by this point for several reasons, which I'll get into in another video that I could possibly make about Akechi. I know I'm just talking about other videos I could possibly make here, but I'm trying to stick on topic as much as possible here because I have a problem with getting off topic. But yeah, so he's a very, very likable character for a good amount of the game, depending on who you are. But then, of course, the twist happened. You know, Akechi's the traitor, he's the murderer, the Black Mask Killer, the one you've been hunting the whole game. And this is where a lot of people's problem with Akechi comes in. A lot of people say that Akechi's motives, once he is revealed to be the killer, make absolutely no sense. And on a base level, I can kind of see where they're coming from. See, his motives were that he was unwanted as a child because obviously Shido was his father, and you know, his mother killed herself after he was born because having an illegitimate child in Japan is a fucking death sentence, basically. And he felt a lot of hatred towards society, and Shido especially because of that. So I feel like his motivation to want to take Shido down, I feel like most people do understand that, even if it's not right, it is something that people understand. But I think where a lot of people's problem comes from is the fact that he worked for Shido for so long before actually, deciding to take him out. But, and yeah, I do understand why a lot of people don't understand that, because, like, why not to take him out right away? But Akechi's not. See, that's the thing. This does kind of contradict Akechi's character a little bit. There's no denying that, because his character in Royal during the third semester is that he likes to just deal with things right off the bat. He doesn't like to waste any time. He likes to just get things done. So why, with Shido, would he take his time? And I think the reason is because Shido is genuinely personal for him. See, fucking Maruki in the third semester wasn't really personal for Akechi in any way. It was just a fucking thing that got in his way, sorta. So he just wanted to get it out of the way as fast as possible. But with Shido, it was a personal thing that affected him his entire life. So I can kind of understand why he wanted to get Shido to the top of his game and take him out just when he was on top of the world. That's not only is that not an unbelievable thing for him to want to do, it's also not something that's exclusive to Akechi. There's a lot of villains who have motivations very, very similar to that. I can't think of any offhand, but I definitely have heard this motivation before. So this isn't just something that Akechi does. But that's not people's only problem with Akechi. Apparently one of the other problems people have with him is that they don't really know where he stands. This was less of a problem after Royal came out, because Royal gave Akechi a decent bit more screen time after he turns, because in the original game he got a little bit, but not really much. It wasn't really enough to let you know which version of Akechi was real, the fucking lunatic who murders people, or the fucking soft boy nice guy who just fucking smiled at everyone. And Royal kind of gave us the answer of neither is really real. I guess the killer Akechi would definitely be closer to what the real Akechi is like, but neither of them is him all the time, which is interesting. Akechi was a lot more of a sort of just fed up with everything, just wanted to get things done. Never really, he's very sarcastic at times. He was a very weird character in the third semester, and I fucking love him. He's fucking awesome in the third semester, I swear to God. But yeah, but one of people's main problems is that they just don't understand him in the original game. And I honestly do think, yeah, obviously Royal does answer these questions, but in the original game, there was things to sort of suggest as to which was real and all that stuff. Because one thing that people do forget about Akechi quite a lot is that he has two personas. Now, Akechi having two personas is one thing that's actually that's like one of the actually confusing things about his character, is why does he have two personas? It's never really stated why. And some people take it as it's, he's a wild card, just like Joker is. And I get why you would think that. That's what I thought whenever he first pulled Loki out in that boss fight. But over time, I've come to sort of not really think that as much, because we only ever actually see Akechi use two personas. We see him use Robin Hood and Loki, both of which are real, actual personas that came out of him. Because with wildcard users like Joker and, Yu Narakami, Makoto Yuki, I guess, like, they have their own persona, but they can also harness the power of other personas. So, for instance, Joker has Arsene, Yu has Izanagi, Makoto has fucking Orpheus, but they call upon other personas, just like, just the same kinds of personas. So, guys like Jack Frost, fucking Thor, and those kind of fucking personas. What's like another one? I am genuinely having problems thinking of other personas like Oni, Kinky, those kind of guys. I'm genuinely just thinking of ones that I used on my most recent playthrough of P4. But yeah, so that's the kind of what they do. I think Makoto from Persona 3 is a little bit different. I haven't actually played Persona 3 for context, but I think he does work a little bit differently. I think he does have some other personas that are natural to him. I'm not really sure. But Akechi has these two natural personas that actually came out of him. Robin Hood and Loki both are natural personas that came out of Akechi, which means they both represent his personality in one way or another. And the way the game sets it up is that Robin Hood represents the law-abiding detective Prince Akechi, the one that is present throughout the most of the game, the one who was like a foil to the Phantom Thieves and was on the good side of things. On the spectrum I brought up earlier, I would say Akechi starts off on the like absolute good side of things, while the Phantom Thieves are in the middle. Akechi would be on the very like good side of things. And then Loki represents the killer, the Black Mask killer version of Akechi, which easily lands on the absolute bad side. It's one of the reasons I love Akechi is that he starts off opposing the Phantom Thieves in the way that he shuns them and is above that and sticks by the law, but he ends it completely opposing the Phantom Thieves in the completely opposite way, in the way that he is absolutely willing to go against everything they do. But that's the thing. Both of those versions of Akechi have their own persona. Think about that. Which means the fact that both of these personas can come out of Akechi kind of tells you that both of those versions of him are real in one way. One of the biggest debates about Akechi is whether or not his sense of justice is actually real, or whether or not that was just a part of the act. But I think Robin Hood kind of proves that sense of justice is real in a way. And when you do think about it, it does actually fit with Akechi's character. Because Akechi's character in the Third Semester is he feels that when something needs done, you just do whatever is necessary to do that. And to an extent, that is kind of the morals behind Robin Hood, because Robin Hood as a character is someone who is willing, who in order to do good breaks the law and does unconventional things, steal from the rich, giving to the poor, that kind of thing. That's the whole point of Robin Hood. So I feel like Akechi's sense of justice is real, and it's really represented well through Robin Hood, because when you look at Robin Hood compared to the law-abiding Akechi that we see through most of the game, it actually doesn't really fit all that well, because Akechi is someone who says that what the Phantom Thieves are doing is criminal, and that's what makes them dangerous, yet he's willing to work with them. I feel like this is one of the hints that Atlas actually gave towards Akechi's true nature, was Robin Hood as his persona. Because Robin Hood, as I say, does actually fit a lot better with Akechi's true character than they really give him credit for. Where Loki comes entirely from Akechi's hatred and jealousy of humanity, which when you compare Loki to Endgame Akechi, it does fit, because Akechi is a very sarcastic and sort of angry person. But I don't feel it represents him as much as well as Robin Hood does. So I feel like what I'm trying to say is I feel like both versions of Akechi are real in their own way. That's kind of what I'm trying to say here. I know I just went through a bunch of bullshit, and a lot of you probably got confused, but that is kind of, that's what I'm trying to say here. Both versions of Akechi are real in their own way, and I feel like the two versions of Akechi that are represented in the main P5 game are just the extremes of those two personalities, while the version of Akechi that we see in Royal is kind of the mixture of the two. So hopefully that all makes sense as to why I think his motives for going after Shido make sense, and why I think that his character makes a lot of sense. And this also kind of sees this thing, because I think Akechi sees himself as two different people. I think he sees, Robin Hood Akechi. We'll call him Robin Hood Akechi and Loki Akechi. I think he sees Robin Hood Akechi and Loki Akechi as two different people. I think he sees Loki Akechi as the real him, and Robin Hood Akechi as the fake him, the face, the persona, if you will, that he puts on in front of a camera. But then in the end, right before they go into Maraki's palace at the end of Persona 5 Royal, he accepts that they're both a part of him. And that's when Robin Hood and Loki fuse together into Hereward, which is Akechi's true persona by all means, because it takes both sides of his personality and combines them into one. I always find that absolutely fascinating. It's actually a lot like Persona 4. It's all about coming to accept your true self and who you really are, rather than who you put yourself out there as. It's kind of weird how that kind of fits, because Akechi himself actually has a lot of ties to Persona 4. He is a very Persona 4-esque character. He has a very similar story arc to Naruto from Persona 4. His cousin is very Persona 4-esque. He's he's very Persona 4-esque in the original game anyway, so the fact that Royal expands upon that, I think, is absolutely fantastic. And it's probably one of the reasons I love him as much as I do, especially now. I feel like Persona 4 has actually made me like Akechi more in a weird way. So yeah, that hopefully that all makes sense. But there is one thing that I have to address before I move on, and that is the fact that Lavenza, in the end of the original P5, says that Joker was supposed to represent, chaos and like the whole chaotic side of things, where Akechi was supposed to represent law. And I know you're probably thinking that I'm going to say that makes sense because I said that the law-abiding side of Akechi is partially real. But that's the thing. I'm not saying that the law-abiding Akechi is real. I'm saying that his sense of justice is real. That's all I'm saying. Akechi does not represent law in any way. He represents law worse than Joker does, because Joker is willing to break the law in order to do what he thinks is necessary, but Akechi is willing to go way beyond that. He's willing to actually kill the people that he sees as a problem. Now, Akechi does obviously kill for his own selfish reasons as well, but I do feel like that sense of justice is real, but that doesn't mean that he represents law. You know what I mean? I don't get that. That is the one part of Akechi's character that I feel doesn't make sense. But the one way I think you could kind of do it is because obviously it said that Yaldabaoth chose both Joker and Akechi to represent the two different sides of things. And I'm thinking maybe Yaldabaoth sees Akechi as law, because Yaldabaoth is obviously willing to go to very extreme measures to do what he thinks is right, and maybe because Akechi is the same, he sees that as law, while Joker is seen as chaotic because he sort of is a little less straightforward with things, is a little more convoluted. That's the one explanation I could come up with, but even that isn't perfect. So yeah, that's the one problem with Akechi that I do have, is the fact that he is supposed to represent law. But aside from that, I do think that there's a lot of things about his character that I hope I brought to light in this video. Sorry if it ended up being confusing. I tried my best to stick to the topic in this video. I am very bad. I need to start scripting my videos more. But yeah, hopefully I did bring some things to light about Akechi as a character here that some of you may not have seen before, and hopefully I've at least changed your perspective a little bit. If you don't like him, that's fine. I just wanted to bring this to light because there's a lot. That's everything I've brought up is what made me love him as a character. So anyway, if you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like, leave a comment in the comment section below telling me what you think about Akechi and other Persona related videos. If you guys want to hear me do like other character analysis of other characters, I'll totally do it. Like I could do one of Adachi and Joker. I've already said I actually really like to do. All the Persona 4 characters I feel like could actually use decent analysis because they are very deep characters. And hell, I'd even be willing to do it for all the Persona 5 characters. Hell, Maruki, I'd love to do a video on Maruki. There's a lot I could say about him. All I'm saying is that remember, for whenever I talk about other Persona 5 characters, remember this scale. This scale that I have right here of the Phantom Thieves in the middle, Robin Hood Akechi on good, and Loki Akechi on bad. I want you to keep this scale in mind, because if I ever do more videos like this will be very, very important as to the morality of Persona 5, which is one of the biggest things in it. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.